Today at the shop, it's all about water deflection. You will see some of the stuff that Nate has been working on as far as the side of the boat, front of the boat, doing the Madison cups, and I was working on the cowling earlier tonight, getting it fit to the boat some more, glassed a cap onto it and that sort of thing. Now I am going to take this piece of PVC, I'm going to slice a channel through it, I'm going to lay it up on the side of the left side of the cockpit and lay up some carbon fiber to it to make a lip that will hopefully deflect some water as we're going slow and turning left. That was one of the things that really got me at Sacramento, was getting up there early, getting into the turn, being blind, and not having the confidence to hit the gas and not run over one of my buddies. So that's what we're working on tonight here at the shop, and we'll see you next time. The radio issues and
well, we have here a little experiment. You know me and experiments. So this boat, when I made the sponsons, we put a plug in the mold to bring the boat this way in hopes that the water coming from the skid fin going that way would give us more room for water to clear the boat. Well, it turns out, in watching our H1 video, that this change here created more airflow somehow with this big huge radius. The airflow followed our deck curve that way, and the water that was supposed to go this way ended up going that way, smack in the side of our cowling. And when we had the saltwater door closed, the air that normally goes this way kind of went this way, and then with the water going that way, it would end up going in there, and that's not good. So our experiment is putting little empty frats on here like a spray rail, so if the water goes this way, it'll want to go kick this and go that way, and then hopefully it'll trip up the air enough to where the airflow doesn't go that way either. So that's the way we're experimenting.
I've got some hydraulic tube at the house, and I think it's half, it might be 5/8, but we can drill this out and we'll put up a section of that in here with a taper on it. We'll just stick it in the exhaust stream.
oh, just so you get a bit
across, yeah, it'll put a vacuum on the fitting and it'll suck all the water out of the tailpipe.
What are you thinking about doing down in the bilge?
I don't know.
If you don't have
something,
I'll show you. Yeah.
So we come down off your tube, here's your bulkhead.
Yep.
Come with a fitting. Come down to a little manifold. There'll be a square manifold. Drilled in like this with two -8s here and a -8 O-ring here. And these will come off on 45s, and this can come down to each. Then we can just come up with a fitting to come down here to the bilge to do a Y, and have two mounting holes right there.
So we could just put a single instead of a double. Nate was talking about putting two of these in.
Wouldn't it be better to do one?
I would think it'd be easier. And we could build this out of a block of aluminum. Well, what we're going to do is this is going to be a fitting that sticks up in the wind stream of the exhaust pipe, of the tailpipe. And what this will do is there'll be a piece of metal tube sticking up out of here about 4 inches with a slash cut on the end, and the slash will be facing to the outlet side of the pipe, so that as the exhaust rushes by it, it creates a vacuum in the tube, and then these lines will go down into the bilge, and what this will do is just like a bilge pump, and it will suck out all the water that collects in the bilge. So instead of carrying all this water around with us, in theory, it'll keep the bilge dry or cleaner, and we won't have to worry about packing around a couple of 100 pounds of water. In theory. So
You again. Well, remember the water back there? Going wherever? Well, up here, because we go so fast at the start these days, I mean, like, I think we've got it down to like 7 miles an hour. It's like, dude, we gotta go 5. So, in order to go 5 miles an hour in this race boat, we have to do certain things, and this is what we're trying to do. I call these the Madison cuffs, because give credit where credit's due. Mikey, I'm copying you. That's okay. Anyway, we're putting these spray rails on the boat because the water is breaking all the way frickin' up here when we're going so fast at the starts that the water is barreling over the bow of the boat going that way, and it's hitting the canopy, and the driver is complaining about,
I can't see anything. I don't know where I am.
so we're putting on these driver enhancements on the boat to be able to make it so he can see and try to maneuver this high-speed craft in such a fast starting procedure to make it work. So it's really cool to be able to use sponsored products. You know, you always wonder about these race teams when you see sponsors on the side of the boat, and you wonder, do they really use those products? Well, I can tell you for sure that we use Systems 3 products. This is called Gel Magic. It's really cool. It works great for this kind of stuff. And our whole boat, in fact, is made out of Systems 3. And that's awesome. It's held up well. I mean, look at it. The other thing we picked up today, which is really cool, is PPG is also one of our sponsors, and we got a care package today of a whole bunch of paint. And if you've ever bought paint lately, you know it's kind of like liquid gold. So we've got our sponsored products going to good use. So thank you Systems 3 and thank you PPG. How we're building our little go fast Umpty Francis here is cutting them out of foam, made a little profile for what we have to modify on the boat out of some 5-pound urethane foam. So we cut each piece out so we can just lay it around, and we're using Gel Magic to glue them on the boat. And the masking tape is kind of a, you modelers out there will recognize that, but we're just building a big ass model and that's all we're doing. So anyway, we're holding it on with masking tape until the glue dries. We'll pull the masking tape off, we'll shape it with the longboard file, and then we'll carbon fiberglass with Systems 3. We'll bag it on the boat and it'll be good and strong until, of course, Kip hits a dock and it'll go blowing all apart. But I think I was the last one to hit the dock, actually. So anyway, it should hopefully hold up. If I can give them all a good job, like cutting out pieces. Good, thank you. Good, I'm getting really tired of doing this.
I'm done.
Thanks, Joe. Get me in the middle of this.
Anybody that can make a bearing jig is right for the video.
Yeah, thanks, Bill. These are going to be our new bleed band controls, and we're still debating whether to mount them. Yeah, Joe, I'll get you. Debating whether to mount them on the hull or on the motor. We had tried in the past to use some surplus valves, and they were a maintenance hassle, and they were always hanging up. And so this is the latest and greatest. And so we're gonna plumb these into our motor so we have a little more control over the bleed band, and we'll see what kind of performance gains we get. And it's a pretty simple deal, controlled by a button on the wheel in the cockpit. The bleed band bleeds air out of the compressor side. Now you're talking to a guy that's kind of new at this, but it helps relieve air pressure in the compressor side so that you don't get compressor stall. Is that how that works?
It's just
Told you I'd get you.
compression release.
Yeah, exactly. And so what happens is at a certain setting on the fuel control, the bleed band will close. What we try to do is close it as soon as we get out of the corner, which will build more horsepower and give us that jump we need to beat everybody. Well, we hope. So basically that's all it is. We're just overriding the fuel control and trying to get this thing to put out as much horsepower as it'll conceivably do. Oops.
Nope, didn't come through the ceiling.
So we're good.
Melamine? No. UHMW? Polyester, polystyrene, polyurethane, vinyl.
See, this is making Joe crazy right now because he can't remember.
I can't remember. No, you used to be really good at
I'll
these
call
things.
ya.
Now what happened? You're getting old.
It's a curve.
What was it?
No, we won. We won that one.
Was last year the year we would have won if
We won Heat 1.
we won Heat 1? Well, that's
That's
the
it.
only one we.
That's it.
That's the only final we made.
That's because
last year.
we're.
Something else, I'm not quite sure what.